Enemies to lovers? More like tried to stab him. Accidentally caught feelings. So funny story. I was supposed to kill my mortal enemy to save the world. You know, standard chosen one stuff. But instead of a dramatic, world-ending duel, I accidentally caught feelings. For him. Yep. The guy I was literally destined to stab. There's a cursed sword, a prophecy that sucks, and a lot of questionable decisions, most of them mine. Whoa. And did I mention my sword glows neon pink every time I have emotions? Super helpful when you're trying to hide the fact that you might like the enemy you're supposed to hate. If you're into epic battles, magical chaos, and enemies to lovers tension so sharp it could cut glass, stick around. Because this isn't just a story about fate, it's about flipping at the bird and making your own choices, even if those choices involve falling for the wrong person. Let's dive in. Please like and subscribe. Chapter 1. Meet cute with swords. Fate is an idiot. That's the first thing you should know. The second thing? I'm not exactly what you'd call hero material. Heroes have noble hearts, tragic backstories, and an inspiring determination to do the right thing. I have a glowing sword, chronic impulse control issues, and an aggressively unhealthy coping mechanism called sarcasm. But here I am, perched atop the jagged cliffs of Ashvale, the wind howling like it's auditioning for a dramatic death scene, about to fight the guy the universe says I'm destined to kill. Destined. Gods, I hate that word. His name is Darian Kade. He's tall, broody, and currently standing about 20 feet away, his black cloak whipping around him like it's part of his personality. His sword, Duskrander, hangs at his side, pulsing with this ominous, dark red glow, probably because he's thinking about murder. Or taxes. Hard to tell with him. I crouch behind a rock, heart hammering in my chest, gripping my sword, Brightbane. Yes. I named it myself. Yes. I regret it now because it sounds like something a 12-year-old would think is cool. It glows neon pink when I'm feeling feelings, which is incredibly inconvenient, because guess what? Trying to ambush your mortal enemy is a very emotional experience. I take a deep breath. Time to be subtle. Deadly. A shadow in the night. I promptly trip over my own foot and faceplant into the dirt. Smooth Aria, I think, spitting out a mouthful of ash and dignity. Darian's head snaps toward me, golden eyes narrowing like he's already regretting showing up. Are you? He blinks. Were you hiding behind that rock? No, I lie, springing to my feet, sword drawn, trying to salvage what's left of my pride. I was strategizing. By eating dirt? Tactical dirt? Without waiting for another snarky comment, I lunge. Our swords clash with a metallic shriek, the impact sending a shockwave through my arms. Brightbane flares pink. Duskrander hums low and angry, like it's judging me. Same, buddy. We trade blows, feet sliding on the uneven cliffside. He's annoyingly good, quick, precise, like he's done this 1,000 times before, which he probably has. His whole vibe screams I brooded my way through assassin school. You know, I grunt, dodging a swing that nearly takes off my ear. For someone destined to kill me. You're really dragging this out. He smirks, a brief, sharp thing that makes my heart stutter in the worst way. Maybe I'm savoring it. Rude. We keep fighting, blades sparking against each other, insults flying as fast as the strikes. Then, because the universe loves irony, I slip. My foot catches on loose gravel and suddenly I'm falling off the cliff. But instead of plummeting to my doom, which would have been very anticlimactic, a strong hand shoots out and grabs my wrist. It's Darian. For a second, we just stare at each other. His fingers are wrapped around my arm, his face twisted in what I assume is regret for making such a poor life choice. Brightbane glows an obnoxious shade of pink between us, and I can feel my heart racing, not from fear, but something infinitely dumber. Like attraction? Absolutely not. Put me down, I snap, scowling. His grip tightens slightly. Gladly. Then he lets go. I drop about 2 feet onto a ledge below, safe, but very offended. I scramble up, brushing dust off my jacket like I didn't just almost die because he was petty. You're the worst, I hiss. You're welcome, he replies, sheathing his sword like this wasn't the weirdest fight ever. We glare at each other for another long, tense moment, and that's when I realize something. This isn't going to be as simple as kill the enemy, save the world. Because fate's an idiot, and so am I. Chapter 2: Awkward Encounters and Unwanted Feelings. The thing about mortal enemies is that you're not supposed to run into them again less than 24 hours after your first, weirdly personal sword fight. Yet here I am, trudging through the tangled woods of Raverin Hollow, muttering curses under my breath, because guess who's standing directly in my path? That's right, Darian Kade. Still tall, still broody, still looking like he moisturizes with regret and bad decisions. Whoa, for the love of, are you following me? I snap, yanking Brightbane from its sheath. It glows pink, which is just fantastic, because it's definitely not due to any residual feelings from yesterday's almost died, but also kind of got saved situation. Nope, definitely not. Darian doesn't even flinch. He just leans against a moss-covered tree, arms crossed, looking entirely unimpressed. I could ask you the same thing. I point my sword at him. Yeah, but I asked first. He sighs, like I'm the one being unreasonable here, and gestures lazily toward the map in his hand, a map that looks suspiciously familiar. Wait, that's my map. You stole from me? My voice climbs several octaves, echoing through the trees like an angry bird call. He shrugs. You left it unattended. In my bag. Unattended. I grind my teeth so hard I'm pretty sure I hear a molar crack. Give it back. Come and get it, he says with that infuriating little smirk, holding the map, just out of reach like we're children fighting over a toy. Challenge accepted. I lunge. We crash into each other, tumbling to the forest floor in a flurry of limbs, weapons, and mutual disdain. Brightbane hums like it's enjoying the chaos. Duskrinder stays sheathed because apparently, Darian thinks he can win this with brute arrogance alone. We wrestle for the map, rolling through dirt and leaves like highly trained warriors. Read. Two idiots in a slap fight. I manage to pin him down, straddling his waist, triumphantly snatching the map from his hand. And then I realize exactly what position we're in. His hands are gripping my wrists, our faces inches apart. I can feel his breath, warm against my cheek. His eyes, a molten gold, flick to my lips for a fraction of a second. Brightbane practically explodes with pink light. Betrayal, I think, glaring down at my glowing traitor of a sword. Darian raises an eyebrow. Is it supposed to do that? No, I snap, scrambling off him like he's made of lava. I dust myself off with way more aggression than necessary. It's defective. Looks emotional to me. I glare daggers at him, stuffing the map into my bag with enough force to qualify as violent. Maybe it's reacting to how annoying you are. Right, he says, dusting dirt off his cloak like he didn't just get tackled into the ground. That must be it. We glare at each other for a long, awkward beat. Then it starts to rain. Because of course it does. By the time the storm really picks up, we're both soaked, our earlier attempts to stalk off in opposite directions thwarted by the realization that there's literally nowhere to go. The nearest shelter is a crumbling stone outpost, barely standing against the wind. Inside, it's dark and drafty. Water drips from holes in the ceiling. We sit on opposite sides of a dying campfire, pretending very hard that the other doesn't exist. It's going great. After about an hour of tense silence, I can't take it anymore. So, I say, voice echoing slightly, what's your tragic backstory? Parents eaten by wolves? Cursed as a child? Did a wizard steal your favorite sandwich? Darian doesn't look up from the dagger he's casually sharpening. I'm not cursed. Could have fooled me. He snorts, a tiny, surprised sound like he didn't mean to let it escape. I blink, thrown off balance. Does Brood Boy have a sense of humor? Why are you like this? He mutters. Trauma, I reply brightly. He actually laughs. Just a low, short huff of amusement. But it's there. Something warm flickers in my chest. And I hate it. For a moment, it's almost, not terrible. But then I remember. He's still the guy fate says I'm supposed to kill. And worse, I don't think I want to. Chapter 3. The Oracle sucks at giving answers. Here's the thing about prophecies. They're always just vague enough to ruin your life without actually explaining how. Which is why, after an awkward night of sharing a crumbling shelter with my mortal enemy, and pretending we weren't both awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to the rain, I find myself trudging through the cursed fog of Vailmer's spine to confront the one person who supposedly has answers, the Oracle of Cryas. Darian is here too, because apparently, we both had the same brilliant idea. Let's harass an ancient, cryptic being for clarity. We don't talk as we climb the stone steps carved into the mountain. The tension is thicker than the fog. Brightbane dangles at my hip, still faintly pink like it's mocking me. Oh, are you feeling things, Aria? Want to unpack that? No, I do not. Darian walks ahead, his dark cloak trailing behind him like he's auditioning for the role of mysterious man number 3 in a bad play. Duskrinder hums softly, that ominous, low vibration that sounds like a distant growl. We reach the Oracle's temple, if you can call a collection of leaning pillars and crumbling stone walls a temple. It's less holy place and more home of potential tetanus. The Oracle waits inside. She's not what I expect. No glowing eyes or dramatic robes. just an old woman sitting cross-legged on a cracked stone floor, sipping tea from a chipped mug that says world's okay sir. Darian and I exchange a glance, silently agreeing. This is going to be stupid. I step forward first because patience isn't one of my strengths. Hey, great temple, love the ambience. So, quick question, what the hell is this prophecy about? The oracle doesn't look up. She sips her tea. Darian tries next, his voice smooth and low. We were told our fates are intertwined. That one of us has to die for the other two. The oracle holds up a hand. Shh. Darian blinks. Did you just? Shh. Period. I'm having a moment. She takes another sip, then finally looks at us, her cloudy eyes sharp despite the milky haze. Ah, the doomed ones. Could you not call us that? I mutter. She ignores me. Of course. The prophecy speaks true. One must fall so the other may rise. I wait. That's it? That's the big dramatic prophecy? That's super helpful, I say flatly. Could you be vaguer? Maybe throw in a riddle about a chicken crossing the road while you're at it. The oracle smiles like she enjoys my suffering. Fate is not for me to clarify. Then what's your job here? Moral support? Darian coughs, probably to cover a laugh. Traitor. I step closer, frustrated. Look, I'm not asking for lottery numbers. Just tell us. Does one of us have to die? The oracle's smile widens. Or do you? I stare at her. She stares back, sipping her tea like she didn't just answer my question with another question. I hate her. We leave shortly after, because there's only so much existential frustration I can handle before committing petty vandalism. Outside, the wind bites colder than before, slicing through my jacket like it holds a grudge. Well, I mutter, kicking a loose rock down the steps. That was a colossal waste of time. Darian doesn't respond. He's staring at his wrist, where the edge of his sleeve has slipped back, revealing something strange, a faint, glowing mark. The same shade of pink as Brightbane. I blink. What's that? He quickly pulls his sleeve down. Nothing. Yeah, because nothing usually glows ominously. He ignores me, walking ahead like we didn't just have an accidental magical bonding moment or whatever that was. I glare at his back. One must fall so the other may rise. But what if it's not about death? What if it's about something worse, like feelings? Chapter 4, definitely not a date. There are exactly 3 things in this world I hate more than prophecies. 1. Darian Solace's smug face. 2. Formal attire. 3. The fact that I have to endure both of those things tonight. The Grand Velmar Gala is in full swing, glittering with chandeliers, overpriced wine, and the kind of people who've probably never had to fight for their lives unless it was over the last slice of imported cake. It's all very shiny, very dramatic, and I hate it with the burning passion of 1,000 dying stars. Why am I here? Because the host of this pretentious parade of silk and secrets has information about the Shard of Idris, the magical artifact tied to our delightful, life-ruining prophecy. Of course, this isn't the kind of information you can get by kicking down a door and demanding answers. No, apparently subtlety is required, which is why I'm wearing a dress. A dress. It's dark red, tied in all the wrong places, and, according to Lyric, my chaotic best friend who insisted it was perfect, designed to look like I could kill a man and look hot doing it, which is technically accurate, but still, next to me, Darian looks like he was born in formal wear, black tailored suit, no tie, shirt slightly undone at the collar, because he thrives on looking like he just stepped out of a tragic love story. His cursed sword, Duskrinder, is hidden beneath his coat, probably humming ominously because even it can't handle his levels of brooding. Stop fidgeting, he mutters without looking at me. I'm not fidgeting, I snap, immediately adjusting the dagger strapped to my thigh. I'm strategically uncomfortable. He glances at me, eyebrow raised. Is that an actual battle tactic? Or did you just make that up? Yes. The plan is simple. Pretend to be a wealthy, obnoxiously attractive couple to blend in. I was against it from the start, because 1. Pretending to like Darian sounds exhausting, and 2. I'd rather eat a live scorpion than be part of this charade. But here we are. We move through the crowd. Fake smiles plastered on our faces. The ballroom is suffocating. Too much perfume, too much laughter, too many masks, both literal and metaphorical. Darian's hand rests slightly on the small of my back, part of the act, but my brain refuses to file it under professional contact. Brightbane, hidden beneath my cloak, glows faintly pink. I grit my teeth. Not now, traitor. We reach the target. Lord Varian? A sniveling little noble with too many rings, and not enough morals. He's laughing at something that's definitely not funny when we approach. Darian slides into character effortlessly, all charm and cold politeness. My lady and I were hoping to speak with you privately about a certain artifact. Lord Varian's beady eyes flick between us, lingering just a little too long on me. I resist the urge to stab him. A private conversation? Varian purrs, smirking like he thinks he's clever. But of course. Follow me. We're led to a smaller chamber, dimly lit and suspiciously empty. The second the door closes, Darian drops the charm, face sharpening like a blade. Tell us about the shard, he orders, voice low and dangerous. Varian chuckles. Impatient, aren't we? I step forward, smile sweet and sharp. Not impatient, just easily bored. And I get violent when I'm bored. Varian's smirk falters. Good. But before he can respond, something shifts, too fast, too silent. I feel it a second too late. An assassin drops from the shadows, blade aimed straight for my heart. Darian moves faster. He's between me and the attacker in an instant, sword drawn, striking with lethal precision. The assassin crumples to the floor, and I realize Darian didn't even hesitate. His hand trembles slightly as he lowers Duskrander, the cursed blade humming like it's feeding off the tension. I blink, breath caught somewhere between my chest and my heart. You. Reflex, he mutters, not meeting my eyes. But it wasn't just reflex. He didn't think. He just saved me. Lord Varian bolts. I throw a dagger after him, catching his shoulder before he disappears into the hall, screaming for guards. We need to move, Darian says sharply, grabbing my hand without thinking. His fingers are warm, calloused, steady. Brightbane glows like a neon sign announcing, congratulations, you have feelings. I squeeze his hand tighter. Yeah, let's go. As we escape into the night, hearts racing, swords stained, I realize something I didn't want to admit. This isn't just fate messing with me anymore. I'm in trouble. Real trouble. Because I think I'm starting to care. Chapter 5, Betrayal, sort of. You'd think after almost getting assassinated at a fancy party, I'd be done with surprises. You'd be wrong. We're camped on the outskirts of Ashmore Vale, the stolen information from Lord Varian tucked safely in my bag. A map leading to the Shard of Idris, the magical artifact that's supposed to either save or destroy the world, depending on who's holding it. No pressure. The fire crackles between us, casting flickering shadows over Darian's face. He's unusually quiet tonight, even for someone whose entire personality is brooding with a sight of repressed trauma. I should have noticed. I should have known. Instead, I sit there, watching the flames, pretending the memory of his hand in mine isn't carved into the back of my mind like a scar. So, I say, breaking the silence because silence makes me think too much. What's your deal with Duskrander anyway? Does it hum ominously because it's cursed or because you are? Darian doesn't laugh. He usually does, just a huff, barely there, like he's accidentally amused. But not tonight. Aria, he says quietly, and my name sounds different in his voice, softer. I frown. What? He doesn't answer, just stands up, smooth and silent, moving around the fire. His shadow falls over me as he kneels beside my bag. Before I can react, he snatches it. I'm on my feet in a heartbeat. Brightbane drawn, pink glow cutting through the dark. What the hell are you doing? His eyes, those molten gold eyes, meet mine, and for the first time, they're not guarded. They're full of something raw. Regret. I'm sorry, he says. Then he's gone. Just like that, vanished into the night with the map, leaving me standing there, sword in hand, heart cracked open like a poorly guarded vault. I chase him. Of course I do. But Darian Solis isn't just fast. He's smart. By the time I catch up, it's too late. I watch from the shadows as he hands the map over to a group of cloaked figures, the Weaver's agents. My pulse pounds like war drums. My chest feels hollow. He betrayed me. Not because of the map. Not because of the prophecy. Because it hurt. I should confront him. Demand answers. Scream, fight, stab something. But I don't. I just watch as he disappears again, swallowed by the darkness. The only thing louder than the wind is the echo of his last words. I'm sorry. Chapter 6, Breakdowns and Breakthroughs. There's nothing quite like betrayal to really ruin your whole aesthetic. It's been 3 days since Darian stole the map, 3 days since I stood frozen in the dark, watching him disappear like it was nothing. Like I was nothing. Spoiler alert. I'm not handling it well. The thing about heartbreak is that it's not the dramatic, cinematic kind, where you stare wistfully into the rain while sad violins play. No, it's ugly and petty and loud. Which is why I'm currently throwing knives at a tree while screaming, traitorous jerk-faced coward, at the top of my lungs. Lyric sits nearby, casually munching on an apple like this is normal. To be fair, it kind of is. She's seen me rage stab plenty of trees before. But today's special. Today, I'm inventing new swear words just to keep things fresh. Backstabbing shadow dwelling emotionally constipated. Lyric interrupts, voice dripping with amusement. You missed. I glare at the tree. Sure enough, the last dagger is buried in the dirt, nowhere near the target. I meant to do that, I snap. Lyric snorts. Oh yeah. Aiming for the ground. Bold strategy. She flops onto her back, tossing the apple core over her shoulder. You know, we could talk about your feelings instead of violently attacking innocent plant life. My feelings are fine. I lie, yanking the dagger out of the dirt like it personally offended me. She arches an eyebrow. Hella. That's why Brightbane's been glowing pink like a lovesick lantern for 3 days straight. I look down. Yep. The traitorous sword hums softly at my hip, faint pink glow pulsing like it's worried about me. Shut up, I mutter to the sword. It hums louder, because even my weapon doesn't respect me anymore. Lyric sits up, her grin fading into something softer. Aria, he hurt you. I don't respond. Because yeah, he did. But the worst part isn't the betrayal, it's the doubt. What if I was wrong about him? About us? What if he was never the person I thought he was? I don't get to wallow long, because Lyric stands abruptly, eyes narrowing. Someone's coming. I grab Brightbane, the familiar weight grounding me. We move into the trees. Silent shadows among the leaves. 2 figures approach, cloaked, armed, suspicious. Definitely not friendly travelers. We ambush them fast and messy. Steel clashes, bright against the dark. My dagger finds a gap in one attacker's armor, and he collapses with a grunt. Lyric takes down the other with a well-placed kick, and an unnecessarily dramatic flip, because she's extra like that. We search their bodies and bingo, a familiar scrap of parchment tucked into one of their belts. It's part of the map, and scrawled across it, in handwriting I'd recognize anywhere, trust me. I stare at the words like they might rearrange themselves into something less infuriating. Lyric peeks over my shoulder. Whoa. She grins. He's an idiot. A colossal idiot, I mutter. But my heart's racing now, not with rage. Well, okay. Still a little rage. But something else. Hope. Darian didn't betray me. He's infiltrating the Weaver's forces. This was part of some reckless, half-baked plan, he didn't bother explaining. Probably because communication is for people who aren't emotionally stunted sword-wielding disasters. I should be relieved. I should be furious. So naturally, I'm both. We're going after him, I say, stuffing the map fragment into my pocket. Lyric's grin sharpens. Finally. Later that night, reunion, but make it dramatic. We find him in the middle of a battle. Of course, it's pouring rain because the universe has no chill, and Darian is surrounded, fighting off half a dozen of the Weaver's agents. He's bloodied, drenched, and, annoyingly, still looks like he belongs on the cover of a tragic romance novel. I don't think. I just charge. Brightbane sings as it cuts through the chaos, pink glow blazing like it's just as pissed off as I am. Lyrics a blur of motion beside me, blades flashing. When the last enemy drops, it's just me and Darian, standing there, soaked and breathless. I stalk toward him, fury crackling in every step. You could have just sent a letter, I shout, shoving him hard enough that he stumbles. His lips twitch, the faintest hint of a smile. I thought this was more efficient. I punch him in the shoulder. Then, before I can overthink it, I grab the front of his shirt and kiss him. It's messy and angry and desperate, the kind of kiss that says, "You're an idiot and I hate you. And if you ever pull something like that again I'll kill you. But also maybe don't stop kissing me right now." When I finally pull back, we're both breathing hard. Darian's eyes are dark and bright all at once. That was, he starts. I glare. Shut up. And I kiss him again. Chapter 7. The truth about the prophecy turns out. Kissing your maybe enemy maybe not under the rain doesn't magically solve all your problems. Who knew? It's been 2 days since the kiss, yes. Capital letters, because it's haunting my brain like an unpaid debt. And things are complicated. Mostly because every time Darian looks at me with that annoyingly intense gaze, Brightbane glows pink like it's personally invested in my emotional downfall. But we don't have time for feelings. We've got bigger problems. Like the prophecy, the one that says Darian and I are destined to fight to the death. Which is why we are standing in the ruins of Eldris Hollow, an ancient temple carved into jagged stone cliffs, looking for answers. The place is eerily quiet. The kind of quiet that feels like the world is holding its breath. Lyric, ever the chaotic optimist, claps her hands. All right. Let's find some ancient, world-shattering secrets. Jax, Darian's perpetually unimpressed companion, grunts in response. He's spoken exactly 0 words since we met. It's become his thing. The temple is full of crumbling pillars, faded murals, and inscriptions in a language older than time. But there's one symbol that repeats over and over, a woven pattern, like tangled threads. The mark on Darian's wrist starts to glow faintly, the same color as Brightbane. We find a hidden chamber beneath the temple, sealed with ancient magic. Darian places his marked hand against the door, and it opens, because of course it does. Inside, the walls are covered in carvings that depict us, not exactly us, but two figures eerily similar, one with a glowing sword, the other with a cursed blade. At the center of the room, there's an ancient pedestal. On it an inscription reads, "The prophecy is a lie." Well, that's new. Darian steps closer, his voice low. What does that mean? Before I can respond, the air shifts. A shadow coils from the corners of the room, and suddenly, the Oracle of Idris appears. Yeah, that Oracle. The cryptic, tea-sipping disaster from before. They smile, annoyingly serene. "Ah, you've made it. Took you long enough." I don't bother with pleasantries. "What the hell does this mean?" I demand, pointing at the inscription. The Oracle sighs dramatically, like we're the difficult ones. "It means exactly what it says. The prophecy isn't real. It was crafted, woven if you will, by an ancient force to manipulate you." Darian's jaw tightens. "The Weaver." Ding ding ding. The Oracle says, completely unbothered. "The Weaver thrives on chaos, on conflict. So, it creates prophecies, stories, destinies. And people believe them because humans love a good narrative." I stare at the carvings, rage boiling in my chest. "So we're just characters in someone else's story?" The Oracle shrugs. "Weren't you always?" Lyric snorts. "Wow, that's deeply unhelpful." But Darian's not listening anymore. His eyes are on his mark, glowing brighter now. "It's a tether," he mutters. "Just like Brightbane and Duskrander. The prophecy isn't some divine truth, it's a chain." And suddenly, everything clicks. The glowing swords, the mark, the pull between us. We were never destined to fight to the death. We were just puppets on invisible strings. I grip Brightbane tighter, my heart pounding. Then we cut the strings. The Oracle smiles, sipping tea that I swear they conjured out of nowhere. Good luck with that. Chapter 8. Sacrifice means something different. Here's the thing they don't tell you about unraveling a world-shattering prophecy. It's messy. Like, emotionally devastating, soul-crushing, existential crisis-inducing messy. We've left the ruins of Eldris Hollow behind. But the truth we found there sticks with me like a splinter under my skin. The prophecy isn't real. It's a carefully crafted lie spun by the Weaver, an ancient being that thrives on chaos, conflict, and apparently ruining my life for fun. Our glowing swords? The mark on Darian's wrist? All just tools. Tethers designed to keep us dancing on strings. I've never hated anything more. We're camped in the shadow of the shattered spire, the jagged mountain where the Weaver's influence is strongest. The final battle is coming, and with it, the crushing weight of choice, because we know what we have to do. The only way to break the Weaver's control is to destroy Brightbane and Duskrander. The catch? They're tied to our life force. Destroying them could kill us. So yeah, fun times. The fire crackles between us, throwing flickering shadows across Darian's face. His expression is the same as always, calm, unreadable. But there's a tension in his jaw, like he's holding back words he doesn't know how to say. I'm not any better. After a long stretch of silence, he finally speaks. "We don't have to do this." I snort. "What, let an ancient chaos entity keep puppeteering us until the end of time?" Sounds tempting. He doesn't smile, just looks at me with those molten gold eyes, and suddenly, I can't breathe. "I mean it," he says quietly. "You don't have to stop," I snap, standing abruptly. The words come out sharp, brittle like glass. "Don't you dare tell me to walk away." He rises too, his jaw tightening. "I'm not trying to protect the prophecy, Aria. I'm trying to protect you. That's the thing that breaks me." I laugh, harsh, bitter. "Funny. I've spent my whole life fighting a destiny I didn't choose. And now you're trying to shove me into a different one." I step closer, my heart pounding so hard it feels like it might shatter. "I'd rather die on my own terms than live as someone's puppet." His hand curls into a fist at his side. "I'd rather you didn't die at all." There's nothing left to say after that. The silence stretches, heavy with all the words we're too afraid to speak. Then, because I'm an impulsive disaster with no self-preservation instincts, I grab the front of his shirt and kiss him. It's not like before. It's raw, desperate, like trying to hold on to something that's already slipping away. When I pull back, my throat is tight. We do this together. Darian's eyes are burning with everything he can't say, but he nods. Together. The shattered spire is a jagged monument of stone and darkness, pulsing with the Weaver's corrupt energy. We stand at the summit, Brightbane and Duskrander drawn. They hum with power, their glow brighter than ever, pink and dark violet, two colors that should clash, but somehow don't. The Weaver appears like a ripple in reality, its form shifting and flickering. It has no face, but I feel its smile, sharp as broken glass. "Wah," it says, voice like silk sliding over a blade. "The heroes arrive. Ready to fulfill your destiny?" I tighten my grip on Brightbane. "We're here to end it." The Weaver laughs, a sound that echoes in my bones. "You can't escape fate." Darian steps forward, his sword humming like a storm. "Watch us." We raise our blades, crossing them at the center of an ancient rune etched into the stone. The ritual begins. The swords react instantly, pulsing with blinding light. Pain lances through me, sharp and searing, like my very soul is unraveling. I hear Darian's ragged breath, feel the tremor in his hand where it grips mine. But we don't stop, because we're more than the weapons we carry, more than the prophecy that tried to define us. We are ourselves. With a final, defiant cry, we drive the blades into the stone. The explosion of light is blinding. For a moment, there's nothing. No pain, no sound. Just silence. When I wake, the sky is bright. I'm alive. I sit up, heart racing, and Darian's beside me, also alive. We stare at each other, disbelief crashing over me like a wave. "We're not dead," I whisper. He blinks. "Apparently not." I laugh, wild, breathless, relieved. "I told you I wasn't going to die." He shakes his head, an actual smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "You're impossible." I grin, tears stinging my eyes. "You love it." Before he can argue, I kiss him again. Because I can. Because we're free. The prophecy is broken. And we're still here. Chapter 9. The Final Battle. You'd think breaking a prophecy would mean the hard part is over. Turns out, the Weaver doesn't take no for an answer. We're standing at the edge of the battlefield, staring down an army that looks like it crawled straight out of a nightmare. Shadows twisted into the shapes of creatures that don't follow the rules of physics or sanity. Their forms flicker like bad memories, teeth where there shouldn't be teeth, eyes glowing with hunger. The Weaver stands at the center, its form shifting and warping like a glitch in reality. No face, no eyes, just an overwhelming presence that makes my skin crawl. Darian stands beside me, his jaw tight, golden eyes burning. Lyric and Jax are behind us, Lyric twirling a pair of daggers like she's excited for the chaos. And Jax, well, he's perfected the art of looking unimpressed even when we're facing certain death. Our swords are gone. No more Brightbane, no more Duskrander, just us. But for the first time, I don't feel weaker. I feel free. The battle erupts like a dam breaking. We charge into the chaos, no prophecy to guide us, no glowing swords to lean on, just adrenaline, stubbornness, and the overwhelming desire not to die. Lyric vaults over a shadow beast, stabbing it through what I assume is the face. "This is therapeutic," she yells, grinning like an absolute maniac. Jax follows, cutting through enemies with precise, silent efficiency. He's like if a disappointed sigh became a person, and then picked up a sword. Darian and I fight back to back, and it's almost like we're dancing. A very violent, stabby dance. But the Weaver isn't interested in playing fair. It moves through the battlefield like a living nightmare, warping reality around it. The ground cracks, the sky flickers, and suddenly, Darian's gone. Just gone. My heart lurches. "Darian!" No response. Panic claws at me, but I shove it down. No time for that. I fight my way through the chaos, every swing of my blade fueled by sheer rage. Then I see him, across the battlefield, trapped in some twisted illusion the Weaver has crafted. He's on his knees, eyes distant, caught in a nightmare only he can see. I sprint toward him, dodging attacks, leaping over debris. When I reach him, I grab his face, forcing him to look at me. "Darian!" I shout, shaking him. "Snap out of it." Nothing. So I do the only thing I can think of. I punch him. Hard. His head snaps back, and for a second, I think I've made a terrible mistake. But then he blinks, eyes clearing, and glares at me. "Did you just punch me?" Relief crashes over me like a wave. "You were being dramatic." He groans, standing up. "I was under a psychic attack." Same thing. No time for more bickering. The battlefield is collapsing around us. The Weaver descends, its form towering, a mess of shadows and whispers. "This is where your story ends," it hisses, voice slithering into my mind. I step forward, bloodied and breathless but defiant. "Funny," I say, cracking my knuckles. I was about to say the same thing, We can't kill the Weaver the usual way, no sword, no prophecy loophole. But we don't need a weapon. We are the weapon. We focus, channeling everything we are, rage, love, stubbornness, into one explosive force. The Weaver lashes out, trying to drown us in fear, but it's too late. We've already broken its story. We're writing our own. With a final scream, we unleash the energy, tearing the Weaver apart at the seams. Reality itself shudders then. Silence. The dust settles. The shadows fade. The Weaver is gone. We're alive. Somehow, against all odds, we're alive. Lyric limps over, covered in blood. None of it hers. Well, she says, breathless. That was fun. Jax follows, expression as flat as ever. But then, he speaks. His first words since I met him. Idiots. I blink. Wait. You can talk. He rolls his eyes. You just weren't worth the effort. I gape. Lyric cackles. Darian snorts. And for the first time in what feels like forever, I laugh. The world is saved. The prophecy is broken. And Darian and we're dating now. It's weird. Not because he was my mortal enemy, or because we tried to kill each other multiple times. No, it's weird because every time he smirks at me, my heart does this stupid little flip thing. And I hate it. Okay, I don't hate it. I narrate our story to no one in particular, watching the sunset from the edge of a cliff. So, I say, I didn't kill my mortal enemy. I fell in love with him instead. I grin. Fate can suck it. Lyric's voice echoes from behind me. Gross. Jax adds, idiots. And Darian, he just pulls me close, smirking. Yeah, he whispers, but we're your idiots. If you were part of the story, would you be the impulsive chosen one, the brooding rival, the chaotic sidekick, or the silent, judgmental companion, and why? Bonus points if you give yourself a cool weapon name. Let's see who'd survive the prophecy, or accidentally fall in love with their enemy first.